Now, yesterday, as you know, April 15th, tax day, the first under President Trump's new tax bill. But a lot of people ended up with smaller refunds than they used to. Larry Kudlow, waiting in the wings. Here he is, National Economic Council Director. Larry, welcome to the program. Good to see you.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you. By the way, Rich Karlgaard's a great American. How about that?
Yeah. All three of us together, great Americans, okay?
Yeah.
Now, wait a minute. A lot of people very disappointed with their refund. Is your message just not getting through? Is the word not getting out that we've got a nice tax cut here?
Well, remember, we're lowering tax rates, marginal tax rates. There's no rebate effect here. That may have something to do with it, although I think refunds are going to wind up running about the same as last year. I wouldn't fret about that because all these polls show President Trump and his new policies to rebuild the economy, right? Tax cuts, deregulation, trade reform, energy openings. He's running a 58% economic approval rating because of the excellent story on the economy and jobs and blue-collar wages and so forth.
That is good. Yeah.
58%. So I'm just saying, Stu, the tax cuts are a means to an end. The end is the new prosperity. And I think the president's scorecard there is absolutely terrific.
Here's the problem, and here's the problem as I see it. Those people in the 1%, and they live in New Jersey, New York City, Connecticut, Illinois, California, those people are not going to get the huge refunds that they are used to. And I think that has some economic impact. Now, I've not seen the numbers, and maybe you have, but I think there's economic impact here.
Well, look, let me just add to this. Remember, the SALT deduction is down to $10,000, so that's true, and I read that all the time. However, we basically did away with the AMT, the alternative minimum tax. So many of those upper-end payers would have not gotten any deductions because they would have been thrown into the AMT system. Now that AMT is essentially gone, they do get something. They get $10,000, so it's not nothing.
But the end result is still less money going out there from the Treasury to people who would have spent and invested that money.
No, I don't agree with that. I'm sorry, with all due respect. What's happening is more money is going to the private sector for this reason. We lowered business tax rates. We've given full expensing for new investment in equipment. By the way, today's industrial production report, let me put in a quick factoid. You saw a big gain in business equipment. that's great for CapEx and direct investment in factories and tech and so forth. We cut personal income tax rates. We basically doubled the standard deduction. We increased the child care tax credit. That's money that has gone from Uncle Sam back into the private sector for healthy spending and healthy investment, both on the demand side and the supply side of the economy. So I just have to argue it's not true. Now, wait a second. The tax revenues from the better 3% growth and more people working, and 3.8% unemployment rate, tax revenues are coming in February, March. Looks like a good 8 or 9%, and I dare say we have already paid for the corporate tax cut. So I just think this is a great package, but the key point is growth.
Okay.
Growth.
Okay.
We're at 3, not 2 or 1.5, and wages are rising above 3, and productivity is rising, and business investment is rising. It doesn't get any better than that.
Okay, Larry, I admit it. I'm whining about SALT because I live in New Jersey and work in Manhattan. Okay, I admit it.
The solution to SALT, look, there's such a simple solution to SALT.
Oh, no,
that is to
it's
say,
not simple, Larry. I know what you're going to say. Lower taxes in New Jersey. They're never going to do it.
These big blue states could consider some income tax relief. Income tax relief wouldn't be such a bad thing, you know. Maybe not all of them would move to Florida or Texas. Some of them might hang around. That's all. Just saying. Just saying.
Just saying. You sound like my teenage kids there, Larry. All right, now, what about the president's tax returns? 1 week from today, the IRS is going to, the Ways and Means Committee is coming knocking at the IRS's door. They want the tax returns. Will he ever release them?
Well, it'll be what it'll be. You know, I'm going to refer all this to Treasury Secretary Mnuchin and the Treasury Department and the IRS. They've made the case. I think Mr. Mnuchin has said pretty clearly he doesn't see a legislative purpose for this release of tax. The president's, given hundreds and hundreds of pages. He is still under audit. There are a lot of things going on here. I'm going to leave this to the Treasury Department and the IRS. I don't have anything to add to what they've already said.
Larry, earlier we played a clip from the president. He said that we're in the final stages of trade talks with China. He kind of left the door open, seemed to be hedging a little. Maybe we won't get a deal, but that's still a win. Maybe we will get a deal, that's still a win. Can you tell us categorically, if you can, yes, we're going to get a deal of some sort?
No, I can't say categorically. Look, what I'll say is we continue to make very good progress across the board. These are the broadest, largest in scope negotiations in U.S.-China trade relations history. Good progress on enforcement on all the key points, whether it's enforcement, whether it's IP theft, whether it's forced transfer of technology and ownership and cyberspace and cloud, and of course the issue regarding tariff and non-tariff barriers for agriculture and industrial commodities. Lots of progress, too. I'm not here to predict that. Ambassador Lighthizer, Secretary Mnuchin are working hard. They're on the phone. There'll be more talks this week. So let's just take this one day at a time, one step at a time. We like what we see, but I'm not here to make a forecast.
When it comes to the 2020 campaign, will the president be pushing a big tax cut, more tax cuts as part of his campaign plank?
Well, I don't know for sure. I will say we have discussed internally what additional tax cuts and tax reforms make some sense. We're always in a period progressing on more deregulation across the board in every single area. As you know, we just had a big energy executive order that would free up permitting for pipelines and LNG terminals and so forth. There'll be lots more of that. We are looking at the tax issue for the campaign. Thus far, we haven't made any final decisions. It's all out there. The key word here, you heard the president say this, growth, 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 growth. That's been his plan. We're getting the results in. He continues to talk about the need for growth. And as he said, I guess yesterday in Minnesota, the economy's taken off like a rocket ship because of the tax cuts and deregulation. That's a very important message. You know, you and I have talked about this. I know critics like to talk about, oh, it all goes to rich people. That's completely wrong. The biggest gainers have been the best blue-collar employment in 50-some-odd years. The wages of blue-collar workers are rising faster than the wages of white-collar workers. That's a terrific thing, but all wages are rising. People coming out of the woodwork who are not even on the unemployment rolls are now coming back to work with better wages and training. This is all good stuff. This is rocket ship stuff.
And here comes the hard break, and I'm still whining about salt because I live in New Jersey. I'm sorry, Larry. I hate to be a downer. Larry Kudlow, everyone. It's always a pleasure, and we thank you very much for being here today, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Appreciate it.
Sure thing.